You can actually help them to follow a calorie-controlled diet with healthy meal options through our restaurant. So what we managed to do is cut the days lost due to sickness by 80%. Our employees genuinely appreciate the support and guidance that we provide to them in helping them become better versions of themselves effectively.
Luis, do you know these restaurants where you go and then you pay as much as you want and as much as you value the dish? So this is a price strategy that targets the individual feeling of responsibility. And this is exactly the price strategy, or what restaurants realize is when they have this open price strategy, that they earn more money than if they would have had fixed prices. And we translate these principles of trust and also humanity into our working culture. So we still value humans more than machines, and we want our employees to take decisions, not machines. So we believe that the collective regulates itself, and that through trust and transparency we increase wellness and well-being in our workplace. And a great indicator is of that is also that we have 70% collaboration spaces in our environment and in our offices, and we want to promote the interaction between our employees in order to increase productivity, collaboration, but also well-being.
Well, I think transparency is also important for us. For example, we demand that our employees disclose all of their health details to us upon joining, and in return, we offer financial incentives for healthy lifestyle choices, such as reducing sugar intake, not smoking, and taking exercise. So in essence, what we do is provide the best work experience in our industry, and in return, we expect the best performance from our employees. So to do that, we like to have our employees in the office. So we look for an average presence rate of 80%. And it's in the office where we feel that we can best support our employees to reach their potential. So it's clear that we're both taking advantage of health and well-being to sustain talent within our businesses. And if we think back to 2014, health and well-being just wasn't really on the agenda, and cost savings were still driving the majority of workplace strategies. So what do you guys think? So we're going to ask you to vote with your hands, and we'd like you to choose. We're going to ask you two questions. So firstly, we're going to ask you which scenario you think is more effective from a business perspective. And then we're going to ask you to be really, really honest with us and tell us which organisation you'd prefer to work for. So if I start with Hannah's organisation, hands up, who thinks Hannah's organisation, please vote, who thinks Hannah's organisation is most effective from a business perspective? Oh, that's not bad, that's not bad. And then hands up, who thinks the control scenario is more effective from a business perspective? Oh, drinks are going to be on me tonight. And then hands up who would want to work for Hannah's organisation. I think I can guess what's coming here. And hands up who'd want to work for my organisation. Oh. Well, interestingly, we actually thought that people would vote with their heads for control from a business perspective, and people would vote with their hearts for where they wanted to work. But you've all just disproved that, so thank you for voting. But I think there's a lot of interesting debate around this, and I think this ties in really nicely to what we've heard today so far. But what we want to do is share with you some of the trends that have kind of shaped these scenarios that we've been sharing with you today. And then we're going to go on to share some research that we've been doing recently, which looks at attitudes to wellness in the workplace. So this is essentially the information and the data that we've used to build up these scenarios. So over to you, Hannah. Okay.
So yeah, let's have a look at some of the trends that we have extrapolated from our Johnson Controls roadmap, and this is what you see on the slide here. And our roadmap is a tool that helps us to identify trends from a wider world, really looking into different areas like consumer and society, markets and industry, and technology and design trends. And health, wellness, and well-being is mapped as one of the really big mega trends on our roadmap, long-lasting and has a global effect. So how do we see health, wellness, and well-being shifting, and what are the trends, developments, and disruptors that sustain talent in the workplace? That's what we're going to have a look at now. So the first big shifter is that humans are changing. People and their attitudes are changing. So we as societies are changing, and we become older and live longer. The perception towards health increases not only because we are facing an aging society and an increase of chronic diseases, but also the concept of health generally is shifting towards holistic, which includes the well-being of soul, body, and mind. So we foresee new forms of status, so a societal shift from monetary to non-monetary values, and time plays a significant role here. So time is really becoming luxury. And we also see that people start to actively engage into maintaining a good health condition, and that they want to live a more balanced lifestyle and have a better work-life balance. But not only societies are changing, we also see that technologies, of course, are changing. And we heard about this today. So we have technologies become smaller, they become integrated, they become seamless and also omnipresent. And we leave with technologies our digital footprint everywhere. And we are generating big data on the one hand, but also real-time data. And the miniaturization and wearable technologies allows trends like do-it-yourself health, which helps to monitor health conditions and self-diagnose our health conditions on a regular basis. So in general, technology belongs to our life, and we wouldn't want to live without it, and we don't want to miss it. So it becomes a companion, and it provides a feeling of connection, security, and well-being. But a healthy life means that that we are optimizing our performance and also competitiveness, and especially as technologies are supporting this. So we see these two angles coming together. On the one hand, humans are changing, and on the other hand, technologies are supporting to maintain better health conditions. And we see those trends also influencing the workplace. And I would like to share with you some examples of technologies, but also cultural shifts that are influencing organizations. And we heard already also in previous presentations some, but here you see a device which is like a mouse device which is measuring the stress level that you have. So the device tells computer users when they become too stressed and tells them to have a break. They connect these data to your own profile, so it knows how old you are, so it really gives you an alert or a personalized alert. And then another example is the business microscope that we have found, which is a device, we've heard about it, or similar technologies at least, which is a device that really wants to increase efficiency in the workplace. So it basically measures everything you do in the workplace, from who you talk to, how long you talk to, how intense you talk to, where you walk, where you have a break. So really provides a transparent employee. And then on the other hand, I was talking about it, the organizational shift that we see, and we've also seen in the presentation before an example from Google. This is an example of a relaxation room at Philips. And we also see that companies like VW or BMW start to change their working time models and provide their employees the right to be unavailable. And with this in mind, I hand over to Louis, and he takes us through the survey results.
So how big is this issue today really around wellness, And what we've done is we've taken some facts from the UK that we've collected, and what we see here is that there's been a 20% increase in days lost due to stress and anxiety alone in the workplace over the last 4 years. So that accounts for 15.2 million days every year, which equates to about half, just to give that a sense of scale, it equates to about half a day for every employee in work over the age of 16. So, in fact, what we're actually seeing is that only 13% of employees in the UK, and this is maybe speaking for the UK here, say that they're not stressed by actions that related to their job. And interestingly, given some of the people here today, real estate is found to be the most stressed sector. So I think we'll all appreciate the day off today. But if we, what can we actually do here to address this? A lot of what we do from a real estate strategy point of view is focusing on making real estate more efficient. But as we know, the actual operating expense of a business, real estate will equate for about 20% of that. But if we look at the cost of the workforce, the people, that will be almost 70%. So just to kind of add to that, we've been doing some research which is looking at attitudes to wellness in the workplace today. And what we asked was, how do businesses prioritize the role of the workplace? So, and this is what we found. You see here that we've got a tie between productivity and risk, and cost is quite close to that as well. But the workplace as an enabler of work is not really recognised yet, and perhaps that means that people and cost or the link between people and place are quite clearly established in the industry, but not the workplace as an enabler of work yet. But if we look at tomorrow, we see a shift. So risk and cost reduce in importance, and what we see is that productivity and the workplace supporting work or enabling work become much more important. But how active is that change today? We asked whether organisations were actively trying to reprioritise the workplace within their business, and what we find is that 75% of the organisations that took part in the survey agreed with that. We also asked then, is wellness going to be a key part of your workplace strategy in the future? And again, we get a very positive response, with 80% of respondents agreeing that wellness will be a key component of workplace strategies in the future. However, when we ask whether an organisation would be willing to take increased cost to improve employee wellness, the number of positive responses actually drops to 60%. So perhaps what we're seeing here is that the value that an organisation gets from investing in wellness isn't clearly established yet. So I think that's going to be a focus area for us going forward. So what can we take away from all of this? I think we need to look at how we redefine our role as workplace practitioners in the workplace and kind of close this grey area. We talked about it earlier between real estate and HR. I think we're going to have to understand more about areas like environmental psychology and really understand how the environments that we create have an impact and influence the people that use those environments. From a corporate occupier's point of view, you need to decide what kind of organisation you are. Obviously, an approach to wellness for a data-driven, evidence-based decision-making culture isn't going to be the same for an organisation and a culture that values creativity. So we need to align wellness with the culture and the goals of the organisation. There was some research that we found in 2013, just last year, conducted by Beck consultants, and they looked at how wellness was being approached from an organisational standpoint. And what was found is that only 1 in 10 organisations that are actually actively investing in wellness programs today are measuring the outcomes. So I think that the key takeaway for us is that we need to focus on the value and find some measurable outcomes around the way that you actually justify investing in wellness and the impact that has on employees. And I think that's probably the key takeaway for us. We're going to be doing a more globalized piece of research over the course of this year, so we're going to continue to focus on this area. But in the meantime, thank you very much for your time, and I think we've got a small amount of time left for some questions, if there are any.
Okay, thank you very much, Lewis and Hannah.